guys, and welcome to our video that just shows you how to use this terrain in-game, okay? So we're going to give you some ideas of what you're going to do. You've probably got lots of different games you're going to want to play with this kind of terrain, and it could be anything from Zombicide to HeroClix to Terminator the Miniatures game to all sorts of different fantastic games that you can play with this terrain, okay? So obviously I want to be able to kind of show you how this actually works when you're playing and how your minis will interact with the terrain itself, but also maybe a few little things that you'll need to do with the rules, because you know we don't have multi-level terrain in these kind of games, and so you can make some really quick simple fixes which just make the game flow really nicely and allow you to use all of the terrain. Okay, so let's get straight to it and have a look. And what I've got here is I've got some figures set up which you'll probably recognise from a very popular game, and this particular game uses zones to move. So let's talk about the map first of all and the zones and how that basically works. First of all, you'll probably recognise this game's Zombicide, a fantastic game, and they use these kind of floor tiles with bits of roads and and so on and so forth on it, and then they've got the little buildings that you move around in. Perfectly fine, fantastic tiles, really great game. If you want to bring that game to life, you want to bring this to life, what you don't want to do is you don't want to try and get this terrain and make it fit the tiles. The tiles are fantastic, but what we want to do is basically use the map that we've got here, and it's very, very easy to do that. So let's talk about movement, would be the most simple thing to do. Here I've got some mini set up. You can see it's nice and simple, and ordinarily with games that move in zones, you've basically got zones that you move through. Now there's no zones marked out on here, but there can be, okay? So the way that we've done this map is that it actually fits into blocks. So you've got these there's a block here, there's a block here, I've got 1, 2, 3 blocks here, and even the road you've got like a block, and this bit in the middle. If you look at the map itself, you can instantly zone it visually. Okay, now you can do this without moving anything around, or if you want help, you can move things around, and I'll explain that. Basically, in the centre here, you've got a zone. This would represent basically a zone. So these zombies here are clearly in this zone here. Then you've got one zone here and one zone here. And the same here, one zone here, one zone here, one zone here, one zone there. And so straight away I know which zone those minis they're in. And if I move those to here, I also know that they're in the next zone across. But they're not in this zone and they're not in this zone. Okay? If I move them into this zone, I know that they're in this particular zone. So straight away, without doing anything, I can move these miniatures and always tell which zone they're in. And it doesn't matter what you've got in there, because some of these games you can end up with loads and loads of zombies. Okay? Clearly, these zombies are not in this zone, but I don't need anything to do to represent anything there. Okay? That's a nice and easy way to do it. Okay, so let's pop these guys back. If I'm going to move then, okay, ignoring any rules for who might be in these zones, what I'm going to do is if I've got 3 actions, okay, I could move 1 action into this zone here, 2 actions into this zone here, and 3 actions into this zone here. Now, probably wouldn't be able to leave that zone with all these guys in here, but this is how the movement works. Okay, so first of all, if you're moving by zones, then that's what you can do. If you're moving by measurement, this is also totally fine, because you would just use the normal method of measure. If you're used to using a ball that doesn't have any kind of zones or measurement, great, just use a measure. And you really can measure in any way. I mean, you can pretty much guess measurements when you're moving anyway, because you're used to gaming, you're used to that movement. You can, use the old 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can count inches or whatever by the bases and so on and so forth. Whichever way you want to do it, that's what you can do. If you're used to using cover, and I'll speak about that in a moment, you can move by your measurement, or you can move by zones and then take cover. Okay, so as long as you're in your movement, you can do things to take cover with your miniatures. Totally fine, and that's the advantage of having 3D terrain. Now, that is an easy way of distinguishing. If you're moving by zones and you want something extra to distinguish it, then you can use the terrain to help you see the zones. Here we've got this like makeshift barrier, which is obviously part of the terrain, comes free now, what you can do is you can section this off, and you're like, well, now I can visually see which zone I'm in, and it's very easy to visualize that. And so you can use terrain items to kind of measure up and zone off your different areas. Again, this is another really simple way that you can do it if you prefer the more visual. Okay, so as far as movement's concerned, that's fine. Let's talk about the multi-level aspect. Okay, in fact, before we do that, let's just talk about once you're in a building. Once you are in a building, you really don't have, it's zoned for you anyway. So what you end up with is if I'm going to go into this building here, I've got a zone here, I've got another zone over here, I've got another zone over here. Okay, so I've got 3 actions. I can move 1, 2 and 3. Well, there's not a door there, so I'd have to go around this way. Okay, but that's how I can do my particular movement. If I and that's fine, and it doesn't matter what you've got. If I've got a big bunch of zombies, I can stuff them all in there, no problem at all. And these are proper size rooms. These roads are more realistic. They are wider. They are the right size. When you go to the rooms are bigger. You get bigger size rooms. And this is a small room. You can make a lovely, great big room as well. You can have rooms as big or as small as you want. And that's completely fine. Okay, so that works really well. If you're spending actions to wander upstairs and similar, okay, then all you need to do is to be able to use your actions, and you need to house rule exactly how that's going to work. So here we go. We're looking at these 2 guys here. Let's say this guy's got 3 actions, this guy's got 4 actions. This guy wants to be able to come here and get up into this building here. No problem at all. Okay, so he's here at the moment, clearly in this zone. That would be 1 action to that zone. Then, because he's in this zone where the ladder is, he can make a choice of where he wants to go. So if he's in here, you can rule it of, okay, well, it's one action to go up. Okay, so now he's on this level, and then 1 action into the room. You might say, hang on, running across here is nice and fast, but actually climbing up a ladder is quite slow, so it'd probably take 2 actions. Fine. 1 action into this zone, 2, 3 actions to make it to here. Now he can't get in the room. He'd need 4 actions, like this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4 to get into the room. Okay, and so with multi-level, you can very quickly and easily do this to enable you to say, yeah, this is where I'm going, and now you can use the full top of the building. Okay, so that's great as well, and of course if somebody goes inside, you can have this taken off and you can go up here. Okay, we've got stairs that allow you to do the same thing, and when you're moving upstairs in a room, for example, then it would be a similar thing. There's no other level here, but if you're in a room and you want to move upstairs, you can zone it here. You can say, okay, one is into the, here, 1 action here, 2 gets me on the stairs, okay, and maybe 3 then gets me to the top. If you're using by movement, it's going to be fine anyway, because you might have 4 inches of movement. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 gets me to the ladder. I've got 2 actions left, or 3 actions with this guy. You might say that you move at half speed up here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 gets me to the top. That's another move. 1, 2, 3, 4 gets me inside the building. That's my 3rd action. Now I've got an action spare. I can maybe search the crate that's inside the building. Okay, and I can have a look inside there and see what I'm going to get inside that crate. Okay, so straight away, whether you're using stairs, whether you're using ladders, you've got very easy, simple rule mechanics to get you up and down. That's how we do it. That's a really good simple way, and it doesn't interfere with the main rules of the game. Okay, if you want to then add dice bonuses for being up higher and lower, that's entirely up to you. That's the fun of how you do it. Okay, so that's a really good thing. The other aspect of this terrain is the fact that you've got cover, you've got things that you can actually hide behind. So you've got this corrugated, this sort of corrugated makeshift barrier that you can have. That's going to provide you with cover. Okay, so if you've got a mini, and you might use this to help you zone anyway. If you've got a mini and you move from one zone to another, or you move your movement, put that mini here. Okay. He can clear, he's kind of shooting from behind here now. Now that means that if he wants to shoot someone else, let's make it a Hume, okay? And he wants to shoot, this guy's got no cover, this guy have. If this guy can roll 4 dice in attack with his particular weapon, then this guy's going to get hurt. When this guy shoots back, if he can roll 4 dice, because the guy's behind cover, you can reduce the number of dice depending on what the cover is. So you might say with this cover, you'd cut this guy's dice in half. Now he can only roll 2 dice, okay? As an example, for whatever game it is that you're playing. Okay, if it's a 1 dice you roll in the type of mechanic of the game that you're playing, great, you just then reduce the score. It's very simple. Maybe that is really good cover, but maybe sort of like, you know, a crate is not so good, so you'd only remove 4 of this guy's you'd only remove 1 of this guy's 4 dice, reducing his attack to 3 dice or similar. So the cover is really good in that respect as well, and it adds a little bit of a mechanic. When we play games like Zombicide, when we're using cover, what we tend to do is make a rule that when you move into a zone, once you're in that zone, rather than just chuck your figures in it, you make a decision of where this miniature is going to be. Okay, so if I want to put this miniature here, and I want to shoot one of these zombies here, okay, that's fine, it doesn't change anything in the game at all. But we have a really cool rule whereby what happens is when on the zombie's turn, if we're still there and these zombies move into our zone, okay, rather than having them attack whatever particular figures, we would make it that because this guy's behind cover, especially if he's completely behind cover, what we do is we say, well, the original attacks go to this guy here, because the zombies would see them before he sees this guy. That's just a little rule we made up to help us use the cover. It makes the game more tactical. That's really, really cool. The other thing I should mention is because this is multi-level, you don't need the size that you get with the tiles. And, you know, there's not a lot of difference here, okay? We're looking at probably about 6 inches difference across the width of here, okay? But that 6 inches that you're losing around the edge, you're gaining multiple times with the amount of levels. You can have a building here with like 3 or 4 levels, or if you're taking quite a few, you could have 8 levels. And so what happens is you don't need the larger area. It's easier to play on a smaller area, and you can move up as well. Of course, if you're going for a 2 times pledge, which is what we got here, more or less, and if you're going to go for something like a 4 times pledge, you've got the vast areas. You can have rules for vehicles. You can actually have somebody storm a building over here, get out, jump in the car, you know, mow down a few guys on the way, get over to the next objective and do what it is they've got to do. If they can start the vehicle, maybe they're going to hotwire it, whatever the rules are, okay? So again, you've got the mechanics. Okay, you've got the mat set up, and you've got plenty of space to play your game in. This is really cool as far as whatever game it is you're playing, it will adapt, it will be able to move to what it is you want to do. And of course you can get inside, as you know, of all of our buildings, etc. Okay, so that's another really cool thing about the terrain, is the fact you can move by zones, or if your game doesn't use zones, you don't have to move by zones. You can use a multi-level, you can use a cover. That's really cool. Okay, so as far as adapting rules for the game cover, this is really simple to do. Now, lastly, before we finish, I just wanted to show you a couple of things that you can do with your terrain as well, which we probably haven't mentioned yet. Okay, and there's some just really fun things that you can do. We spoke about these barriers. We've already given you one of these free, possibly 2 by now. And you can make all sorts of crazy things here and do all sorts of things with this. And all they do is they clip together, and you can make these shapes, and you can have whatever it is you want, the objective point in there, whatever. Okay. Now, what you can also do with this is say, okay, well look, I want another way to get around my terrain. So why not just sort of grab some straight clips like so, and we could do it that way and then that way to make it look a bit more rickety, okay? And you can keep doing that, and you can make some kind of really cool sort of bridges and expanses to sort of like, you know, help your miniatures get from, you know, A to B or whatever. So we could have one over here, I don't know if that's in camera shot, we could have one over here or whatever. And you can make these kind of bridges and bits and pieces that allow you to get expanse, okay? So that's really cool. You can just use these kind of things to kind of get from one place to another. You want to take that one step further. We give you these, if you're going to go for the walkways pack from the deco set, you can use these, okay. On the reverse side, you've got it without the carpet. You can put those together, add some walls to the side, okay, and you can start to make these kind of you get these kind of glass bridges that you get from building to building. And because the terrain is set up with just the right gapping, you know, you've got your block here, your block here, your block here, it always fits, okay? So you can actually connect it from one building to another, and it allows you to have a playable area where you can, you know, you don't necessarily have to go through the streets. It makes the game much more tactical, especially if you're chasing somebody down. So that's really cool as well. And of course, you can actually cover it up and so on and so forth. I'm sure we're going to show you lots more pictures of that at the time to come. So that's really cool. Again, using things like the walkway pack, you can take these banisters, the railings or the banisters from the walkways, and you can make things like this, which is really cool. You get these kind of barricades, often used to sort of slow vehicles. So you get one here, and you just can't plough through. Okay, make for good cover. Certainly going to slow those zombies down. And all you got to do to make something like that is basically to grab some cross clips. Now I'm going to use two here, but you could just use one in the middle. Okay, and then all you do is you pop these together like so. Like that. Oops, put that in there. Okay, and there you go. And that way you've got these kind of barriers here. So, you know, again, it kind of helps to close things in. It gives you something a little bit more tactical to do. This one's probably made up of some of the smaller ones, as an example. Okay, and whatever it is that you do, whether it's the crates that we include, you know, it's very versatile in the way that you can use it. You know, police barriers, you can reverse them, hasn't got the police on it, and you know, anything that you want to do that you can use in game is going to really, really help you. So whether it's placing something to mark a zone, okay, or just simply making some really cool areas to have cover behind, you know, that can work as cover, but you could also use that as a way to get into a ruined building, okay, as stairs. So it's very, very versatile in that respect. Okay, well look, there you go. Hopefully that's given you a really good idea to show you that you don't need to be bound, you don't need to be stuck by the scenarios and the map configurations and the current mats or restrictions of the game that you've actually got. The games work fantastically on their own tiles, but don't try and make our terrain fit the tiles. Literally, all you've got to do is just use our terrain. We've designed it to work with a mass of games, so it's really simple to just sort of grab, build up. If you've got a scenario which is to find the objectives in different rooms or to hunt down and rescue this particular person, okay, then set it up, make it more realistic, get bigger roads, get more realistic sized rooms, get multi-level, and just make that game just that little bit more fun, okay? So it really is flexible. We've used it with many games, okay? So just have fun with it, and hopefully this video has given you a bit of inspiration to have some fun with the games that you've currently got. That's pretty much it from me. Hope that's useful. Until the next video, yeah, please continue to share what we've got, share the knowledge that we've got. Every time you guys share and you tell somebody else about what we're doing, we see the spikes, okay, and we drive to give you more stuff the more that we're fun. So thanks very much for everybody, and keep doing that for us. That'd be fantastic. And yeah, watch out for us on Beasts of War. We're going to be at Beasts of War this Saturday coming, which I think is the 10th. Okay, so look out for us on the Weekender. We should have something quite fun to show you, something new. And when we show you that, we really need you to share that, because there's a lot of people that will be very interested in that particular thing that we're going to be showing you. Okay, so until then, it's over and out from me, and I'll see you. Happy gaming.